Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Celeb back again for another review. This time around, we are reviewing Bandai Namco and Reflector Entertainment's Unknown 9: The Awakening. So this game just came out, and I want to give a big shout out to Bandai Namco for letting us check it out early. So if you don't know about Unknown 9, I'll give you this little brief overview. In Unknown 9: Awakening, you play as Haran, a quester born with the ability to venture into the fold, a mysterious dimension that overlaps our own. On her quest for powerful hidden knowledge, she will learn to master her unique connection to the fold, which allows her to channel its power into our world. But such powers does not go unnoticed. Harana quickly becomes the target of the Ascendant, a splinter faction of a secret organization known as the LYS, who wants to use the fold to alter the course of history. So, Unknown 9, man. How do I best describe my experience with this? I will say this. Beforehand, I knew nothing about the Unknown 9 universe. So upon getting this review opportunity, I really didn't know anything about the Unknown 9 universe. I did not know that to really kind of understand a lot of the knowledge of the Unknown 9 universe, there is a multimedia universe that is stretched out into comic books, podcast, novels, web series, and more. And that's just a lot for me. Like, that is a lot for me as a gamer. So there, like I said, there's probably some people out there that are really far in love with this series as a whole, and this universe as a whole, and it's understandable if you're going to go into this and having this knowledge. But coming from someone that had no previous knowledge really about this game, there was I believe that whenever it was first showcased in like 2020, I had kind of looked at it or whatever, but I really didn't know much about this game up until the point of me getting this email. So let's say this. The cast of this game is fairly good. Anya is the main character in this game that portrays Harana. And Anya actually played Yennefer in the Witcher series, and I think she is a fantastic actress. I think she has always been, even since I think she was in the Zack Snyder anime prequel. That's what I was, and I really loved her voice acting of it. Of course, I loved her as Yennefer in the series as well, but in the Witcher series. But this is her first like full-on main character aspect of things. And overall, her acting is just, as great as always. What I have an issue with about this game is I'm going to say this. I don't really like how people are stating that it's like this retro-esque game. In the perspective of like, oh, well, this is like visually, it feels like something that from like the PlayStation 3 area or whatever. Just being honest, it's a very clunky game that was on console was very underwhelming visually. The gameplay was very underwhelming at times. The visuals were very underwhelming. As I always say, my TV display that I use runs, it's 120 hertz display, 80-inch display, running 4K. And there was no real quality setting, no performance setting of trying to kind of better the visual aspect of the game. So the first 10 to 15 minutes of me playing the game, I was like, okay, you know, it's a rough start. Let's give it some time. And even into the first hour to 2 hours of playing the game, I was like, all right, man, this game is just rough. It's really rough around the edges. There's a lot of times it feels like, I can't say it feels like a game from the PS3 era, because there's games out there that I put in a lot of time on on the PlayStation 3 that honestly for me felt better than this experience. So with this game, there's all different types of gameplay mechanics that you can use whenever you're, when you're sourcing your power from the fold and facing off against the Ascendants. So there's different things like stepping to where you can actually like possess different characters. There's also, like shrouded, push and pull, crush and takedown. So all this different stuff is these type of like mystical powers that you can use at like channeling the fold to use to, forcibly take down these characters or these enemies in our world. But I'm going to get down to basics. Okay, so I feel like the skill tree was not properly set in a way that you could easily upgrade your skills. After, I think I was even at the like 10 to... The overall story runs about 9 to 10. I'd probably say if you're rushing through it, it's about like 10 hours. But I will say this. It took me quite some time to really get into the skill tree aspect to kind of have more of a enjoyable gameplay experience in the game. And even as I did that, it did not feel like a well-grounded gameplay experience, because as I'm playing, I realize many things are missing, like a simple jump mechanic. Like, through the whole first chunk of the game, like you can't jump. I know this is crazy, and I don't talk about it a lot. I don't use this thing as a crutch or anything, but like having ADHD, I tried to I play games a certain way. And the fact that I feel so on the rails with this character in this universe, it really made me feel like it wasn't an experience that I could experience. It was an experience that was being laid out to say, hey, this is how you are going to play this game. You're not going to experience you're not going to experience it any other way. And we're kind of in that mode now of gaming that that shouldn't be a thing. You know what I'm saying? These games that are coming out in 2024 with the technology and the consoles and PC technology and all this other stuff that are out there, you should be able to play these games however you want to, especially whenever they're in somewhat of a kind of open spaced areas of level design and whatever. You can't really do that, in this game. There's also no true navigational system in this game. There's a lot of times that as I'm going through this world, I felt like I was lost. I felt like there was no true type of exploration, no true type of navigational system to really kind of make you understand hey, this is where this is going, this is where this is going. There's no I mean, even whenever you look into the fold with one of your abilities, there's some times that you can kind of navigate your way through these mystical little things, but it's not a real I'm not saying I want this to be Call of Duty and have a fucking mini map, you know what I'm saying? But I want something in there that's really going to kind of at least kind of lead me along the way. Having something a gameplay mechanic from games like Ghost of Tsushima to where, you could slide up on the touchpad. Why not have something like a mystical kind of fog from the fold that leads you along your way or leads you along your path? On the console version of the game as well, that's one of the reasons why I did get irritated with this game, is because as you're trying to navigate your way through these not open world areas, but kind of larger levels, there's times that the gameplay and the graphics are so not up to par that I would either get lost or the visuals were just not up to where they were at. Like, I would feel like I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going. It was a very irritating experience. Now, the one thing I will say about the game is that the Unknown 9 Awakening does have a fairly good story. You know, it does take on, I would say it does take on a good story that could be something more expansive and I think more engrossing for the player if it had better visuals and better gameplay. So I feel that if the studio would have used or taken advantage of something like Unreal Engine 5 and maybe taken a couple more years on to really bringing this game out, pumping up the knowledge of the Unknown 9 to the gaming universe of like over these next couple of years, you know, we're having like, you know, big moments of connectivity between the Unknown 9 Awakening as well as, you know, the web series. And I mean, dude, like, why not bring some of the web series to Steam and, you know, Xbox, PlayStation? Like, hey, you could watch this directly on your console, kind of like what we could used to do, since everyone is saying it's that kind of retro feel. You know, back in the day, we used to have different forms of media that connected that type of stuff. Like, I mean, even the application like Core on the PlayStation 3, you know, you'd be able to watch exclusive scenes from movies or this or that. Why not do this type of aspect? You know, why not have a digital version of the Unknown 9 Torment comic book that came to PlayStation to where you can read through it? Something that had a little bit more connectivity. So I can't say me as a gamer that is seeing this game towards like a real powerful main character that can do all this other stuff and have all this type of mystical powers and aspects. Like, that's what, when I saw that trailer, that's what drew me in. But to really kind of know more about the Unknown 9 universe and the history of the Unknown 9 universe and so on and so forth, you kind of need to expand outside of the video game. And that's just not for me. And another thing too is that's not really for me is just this overall gameplay style and mechanic. Like, at times it's very sluggish. There's times that it kind of just stretches on and on as either the narrative is explaining certain things, or even in the sense of like in-game scenes, like when you're walking through the forest, and you're speaking to another one of the, you know, another one of your cohorts. You know, you're walking through the forest and it's literally moving at a slug's pace. You know, that's one of the main things that really just kind of hurt me at the beginning of the game. Like, the beginning of the game should have been maybe a 5-minute to 10-minute section, and it felt like it was about 35 minutes of just kind of walking and figuring out, where am I going, what am I doing. So just for me, I have to say, sadly, the Unknown 9 Awakening did not awake me. If anything, I felt like it was putting me to sleep a lot of times while I was playing the game. It was just not the best experience. Visually, gameplay mechanics I feel like were somewhat rushed through. There's a lot of times as you're taking on these combat aspects, you know, there's glimmers of like a good system at its core. So like doing the stepping is really cool at times, of being able to possess different characters, because you can eventually get to the point to where you can possess a character and get them to do a slam with their weapon on one of the other characters, and then directly after that, like, kind of astrally project yourself out of their body and then project yourself into someone else's body next to them, and then they can attack this other person, and it's kind of like a chain of combat that's happening. And when that happened and it worked well, it was really cool. It was something that was actually like, I was like, oh, okay, hold up, maybe I've been wrong about this game. You know, so then you even get into the point of upgrading the whole push and pull system in the astral projection. So like when you push somebody back and they slam back into a wall, it does damage, and then you're able to pull them towards you and do this, like, you know, do this type of uppercut. It did a lot of damage, you know, and using the fold to your advantage in the game really works. So then you eventually get another section of gameplay mechanics called crush, to where you can actually like crush different lamps and explosives that are around you, or the takedown aspect, to where you can push, you know, down on the D-pad, go, you know, invisible, walk up behind them and like pull their soul out of their body. You know, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy. But what I did is, like, I could tell that type of gameplay at times was something that was going to be used here and there. So I didn't use my skills exactly right. You know, I was trying to upgrade things that, like, okay, well, it seems like in the area I'm in now, I'm going to need a little bit more stealth. And then maybe I'll update a little bit of combat here and there. And there's not really a way of resetting your skill tree, you know, like, unless I just, you know, am kind of few and far between and zoinked out and didn't realize there's a way of resetting your skill tree. Maybe there is. If there is, call me out on it. But at that point, I was almost kind of being, I kind of felt like I was about done with the game. Because in total, I put in, like, I'll say I put in 12 hours, and, well, I'd probably say I put in about 10 hours into the game, and I still, at that point in time, I still felt like I didn't really get the experience that I was expecting to get. So gameplay mechanics are real clunky, and at times feel not old school, just feel poorly done, to be honest. Because there's times as I'm walking walking around as Harana, you know, my character's kind of like I would say like shifting left and right, and has like this shaky kind of walk to her. There's times that the character models just look weird on the screen, and this could be because of the console version. So that's one of my biggest complaints too. It's 2024. There should not be games that are coming out that do not offer quality and performance, changeability in the game. So, like, I'm being forced to play the game at 30 frames per second. I'm being forced to not be able to have a faster experience. I'm being forced to kind of along this line of an on-the-rail system in this game, and it just didn't feel like an enjoyable experience to me. So you may think different. So do not go off of my review. The game is out as of now. October 18th is the release date, and it is set at the retail price of $49.99. And as I said, The Unknown 9 Awakening, one of its biggest strong points is its story. I feel like if it had a better gameplay mechanic and also a better graphical presentation to the game, I would have been pulled in a little bit better than what I was. But I will say this, at this point in time with this game, I can't say this is something that I would just say, man, you got to go out and buy it right now. You know, maybe if it comes to a streaming service or something eventually, you could check it out and kind of play it here and there. But I can't say this is something that is for sure, oh yeah, you got to go buy this for the holidays. Like, you have to play it this holidays when you have free time. You know, I would probably say this game is like, give it some time to drop in price before you really invest time into this game. So Anyways, with that being said, guys, of course, I want to say big shout outs to Bandai Namco again for giving us the opportunity of reviewing this game. But we are giving this game a 2.5 out of 5. So as a brief overview, there was not a lot of navigational aspects in the game. There was no type of you looking on a map or you having any type of kind of like visual representation of like, hey, go this way. The gameplay mechanics at times felt clunky, especially whenever it came down to, a tie-in with the navigational aspect. There's times that you're walking and it's super sluggish, or your character's real jittery while they're walking. The walking mechanics just didn't look right. Also, the visual aspects of the game are really not up to par with the other games that are out there on the marketplace. What is strong about Unknown 9: The Awakening is the story. The story is a really good story and a really good narrative in this game. But if there was better graphical presentation and better all-around gameplay mechanics, I feel like this would have been a more enjoyable experience. So with that said, guys, this is our review of Unknown 9: Awakening. Please make sure to check out our other reviews on Cineleaks.com and our upcoming review this Saturday of New World Eternum. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.